Okay. There we go. Hello, everyone. Hope everybody's here. We'll save time for everybody to join. Now, you won't be able to hear us, but you should be able to see us. If you don't see us, then, well, but I'm making sure, double checking the YouTube is live. 1 second. Hey, we are live. Okay, great. So thank you for everybody for coming. We're excited to have William tonight. And the topic is UX after boot camp, the next steps. And so William's going to talk about what to do now that you're graduated or graduating a boot camp. So tonight's going to go pretty much like this. If you showed up around 5, you're able to do networking around the air meet tables and do speed networking. I hope you got to meet someone, and hopefully you'll be able to catch up another time. And we'll do that after this talk as well. So do stay around, and we'll go back to the air meet tables, and we'll be there until you're done networking. We're going to talk some introductions, which is where we're right now. Then we'll have William talk around 5:45, and then we'll do Q&A, and then we'll do networking again. So first, I want you to know we are live on YouTube. There you go. Woo, streaming live. It's exciting. But please go to YouTube, search for ProductHired or the link right there if you want to type it out, and subscribe and do all notifications, because that matters in the YouTube world apparently. But also, every time we do a new video or a new live event, you're going to be notified. But also, we have tons of previous videos that we've done, portfolio reviews, UX this, UX that, product this, product that. And so everything we do, we'll be putting on there. So definitely go to our library on YouTube and check it out. And this video will be there after as well. So if you want to watch it again, you can do that. Thank you so much to our sponsors, General Assembly and ProductHired. They make this so great. And of course, when I say they, Brianna is here with General Assembly, and I am the VP of Product and co-founder of ProductHired. So I'm pretty much speaking about us. So let me go ahead and let Brianna talk.
I guess I got to find where the off mute is. You think after a year in virtual events, I would have that down. But thank y'all so much for having us. My name's Brianna. I manage events and workshops at General Assembly. For those of you who have not joined an event or a class with us before, we are a global tech education company focused on the most in-demand skills, primarily within business, data, design, and technology. And our mission is to empower individuals to do what they love. And we do that in a few different ways. We offer full-time courses for those looking to make a career change, part-time courses that are about 10 weeks, 2 times a week, and those are intended to help people level up. And we have short-form workshops and free events just like this one, almost on a daily basis, virtually, and hopefully later this year, if not early next year, we can return to in-person, because I'm really missing seeing y'all's faces. And we have almost 40 campuses around the globe that have in-person campuses. You can next slide me, Mark. So we are actually launching a really cool, new program. And we're excited to share this, that we're launching our data science intensive program in a part-time flex format. If you're interested in data and are curious about making the pivot to a full-time career in data science, we are now introducing that option. So we have both full-time 9 to 5 class, which is over 12 weeks. And now we have the ability to do that in a part-time class in the evenings and Saturdays over 24 weeks. So we have this for data science and for user experience design. So we will have more on that information, but if anyone's interested, feel free to direct message me and I can share some more info there. And lastly, we have a ton of really great events coming up. A lot of them are with Mark and ProductHired, and we also have some with the Product League. So lots of really great things coming up, including understanding and addressing imposter syndrome. We have data science interviews in May, and we have an entire week dedicated to data. So leaders from around the globe are going to be joining us to share their insights and how they're using data to make data-driven decisions and intersections between data and tech. So definitely check out all the sessions there. In May 27th, we're going to do another event with Mark and ProductHired for portfolio reviews. And then diving into June, we have a Pride Summit, an entire week dedicated to inclusivity and equitability and conversations around that, and the intersection of tech, obviously. And then also in June, wrapping up that month, we have an entire week dedicated to marketing. So lots to check out. I'll drop the link for the conferences coming up, and I'll also be sticking around for a while to, if anyone wants to message me. Thanks so much, Mark.
Cool, thanks, Brianna. And definitely, guys, even though you're in user research or design, data is really important. So definitely go to these data classes because you will learn some stuff. I mean, with my designers, we always go through the data. So I am the VP of Product and co-founder of ProductHired. And so ProductHired, basically, it's for your product career. So you can find jobs, you can post jobs, there's interview guides, and then, of course, we have product events. So if you're hiring, go ahead and post on ProductHired. We literally have, I just took the screenshot this afternoon, 37,716 jobs on ProductHired. And those are product jobs, that's not a plumber or anything like that. So definitely, like, we have jobs, take a look at them. And every hour, new jobs are posted. And of course, if you want to talk to me after AirMeet, you can chat. But definitely, talk to people and try to see if they're hiring or they know someplace that's hiring, so on and so forth. Coaching. 2021 is the year of coaching, and I'm going to be stressing this again and again and again and again. So I truly believe, ProductHired truly believes, coaching is your key to success. It's your key to success to be better than everybody else who's just like you, except they don't have a coach. So
I'm not sure I understand.
Siri apparently doesn't understand. She just spoke to me on my phone. That's funny. So, definitely right now you can find a coach on ProductHired for resume reviews, portfolio reviews, career coaching, and interview prep. And a lot of these are for free. I mean, coaches can make it for free. So don't worry about the price. Just go ahead and take a look and see if you can find some free ones. And of course, there's some paid ones as well. Also, you can become a coach. So if you're a person who wants to become a coach, you can also sign up. It's free to be a coach. And of course, you can volunteer and give sessions for free, or you can charge for your time. So Cindy Brummer, she's going to be doing the portfolio review. She's a coach on ProductHired, and she'll be speaking May 27th. William tonight is a coach on ProductHired, and I'm a coach on ProductHired. So definitely check us all out. There's like 40 some coaches on ProductHired, so go ahead and check them out. So ProductHired Job Club, what is this? So it's a place to network. We really try to find ways to network. COVID has made this difficult, but this is why we use AirMeet, because we want you to find a way to communicate and chat with each other. It's a place to find, people who can help you coach, people who can tell you what to do, things we've learned over the time. And that's what our talks are usually about. It's a place to find jobs, the networking, and we'll be talking about, I know about this job here or there. It's also a place to find talent. So if you're hiring, it's also the place to be. We're trying to help them connect better, and we'll be doing that more this year. And of course, it's a place to learn how to find your job and how to interview. We are here to help you advance in your career. And so we have all these tools. And by the way, this is all free. I mean, most of this is free. We're a free version of it. And so, really take advantage of it. What is product? I always get this question. So it's product managers, product marketing, product owners, user researchers, data analysts and scientists, product design, designers, project managers, program managers, and data scientists, and more. These are what I call the product team. So, no matter who you are, if you fall into this, you are at the right place. And so ProductHired is a place for you, but also ProductHired Job Club. We have events around these roles. And so definitely go tell your friends about it if they're looking. And so what is our value? Community focus. And this is why I stress networking so much. This is why I stress coaching so much, is giving back and thinking about the community, not just being selfish about your own career, but thinking about other people's career. Being relational, getting to know one another, so that if you hear a job and maybe it's not a fit for you, you might know someone who it is. Go tell them, refer the recruiter to them. And of course, we help one another. So upcoming events, May 11th at 6 p.m. Central Time, Shikai Zhao is going to be giving a talk about his path through data science interviews. So last year during COVID, he studied and prepared for data science for the FANG companies, so Facebook, Amazon, and a whole bunch of other companies. And he's going to talk about how he prepared, how his interviews went, how he got offers, and how he decided ultimately to go with Amazon. As you can see, he's with Amazon now. So that should be a great event. Even if you're not interested in data science, I think it'll be interesting to see this process, because this process will be very similar as any product role. May 27th, 5 p.m. Central Time, Cindy Brummer is going to be going through a UX design portfolio review. And so essentially what she's going to be doing is she's going to show up, you guys are going to bring your portfolios, you're going to share them, and she's going to review them live, streaming live on YouTube for everyone to see forever. It's amazing and it's great, but there's no reason to be afraid. This is a great opportunity for you to get legitimate feedback. She does a lot of portfolio reviews. In fact, this last fall, you can see it on YouTube, William and Cindy did a portfolio review together, and it was great. And so I expect this one to be great as well. Okay, our featured session, drum beat. Okay, UX after bootcamp, next steps. And so William is a great guy. I know William, and it's not just because I know him personally. It's not just because I hired him personally when I was head of product at a startup and all that fun stuff. Actually, it is because of all that, plus more. He's just a great guy. And you can get his book on Amazon, 101 Random UX Tips, Practical Bits for Novices and Experts. Yeah, he even has his own book. He reads it. He even reads his own book. He's a great guy. And he's actually working on a new book. He just showed me the cover. I can't tell what it is. It's exciting. But definitely, we're thrilled to have William. And I'm handing it off to you, William.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, Mark hired me for a lead product designer role back in the day. And that's how I met Mark. And it would all make sense after my presentation, because I think this is also a great example here. So yeah, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to, take off. But I'll refer back to this statement in the beginning. Or
William, you muted yourself.
Sorry.
So the last 30 seconds.
I know, right? Oh God. I was saying thank you guys for joining in, and it's always great to be able to connect and plug in and keep the conversation going. And as you will see again in my slides, these are all very important as far as our industry goes, as far as our discipline and what we do as UX practitioners. So I'm gonna share my screen. That's what I was trying to do before I muted myself. So let's retry that again. And then let's rock and roll. I do a very bad job of introducing myself and stuff. So my name is William Mente. I'm a senior UX designer at PayPal currently. And I love it. It's great. It's amazing. PayPal is an incredible company. I do have over 10. Well, I mean, I have about 10 years of experience in the industry, and I try to be active on LinkedIn, mentor, and give back, and all that. Just really stay connected and plugged in. So this is my happy place right now, and I hope this session is going to be helpful. What we're going to talk about tonight is going to be slightly different than what you're used to. The role of boot camps and getting the official education is to learn the methodologies, learn the practice, the ins and the outs. But one thing that I feel is very important as far as being able to really figure out what do I do next, how do I go about my career life, is what we're going to talk about today. So I'll be giving you essentially the blueprint, and then you're still going to have to do the work. But this is going to be a slightly unique talk than any talk you've ever heard before, just because there's going to be, I want to communicate with you head to head to really try to transport what I have going on in my mind and what we do and did as senior UX designers in order to get where we are now. I hope that makes sense. So let's step out of the classroom and let's look at this like not a game, but like something that needs to be solved, right? So that's us right now. The goal for this talk here is to get you excited about what's next. I want to get you excited about your next steps. I assume you're either in a boot camp or currently graduated, or recently graduated or graduating, whatever the issue may be or your situation might be. This talk is going to get you excited. The possibilities are endless. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to dive in there. I have structured this talk in two parts. The first part is going to be mental disciplines and then action items. All right. So I'm going to talk about mental disciplines, which is really, it's not something you teach, but I want to talk about it and try to at least break it down where I can get you thinking about certain things. Because it's, yes, after boot camp, let's go. Start applying for jobs. Send your resume. It doesn't work like that. You got to have a plan. You have to really, there are lots of things that go on behind the scenes, right? For those that excel to even excel. So that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Let me do the presentation mode here so you can see. All right. And I'll just use this arrow button here. So I want to begin with this quote. I actually put together this quote for this talk. A tool as powerful as Google Maps can assist you with over 1 million routes, but there are two things. Oh, hang on, I have the timer on it. There are two things that, let's see. Pause. Okay, I'm just gonna, hang on. Let me X out of this. Okay, can you guys still see my screen? Thumbs up. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna go from this view because I do have a timer on it, and it's gonna mess up the entire presentation. So let's undo that. I talk a lot, so we can spend more time on one and just kind of skip over others if we need to. That's fine. All right. A tool as powerful as Google Maps can assist you with over 1 million routes, but there are two things it cannot do for you. That is decide where you're going or where you're starting from. So what does this even mean, right? You have Google Maps. It can tell you where to go. If you're going anywhere, it does not matter. Plug in your address, your beginning address, your ending address, and you're good to go. Like turn right, turn left. It's easy. That's great. But those fields are still empty. So you have the location field and then the destination fields that are always empty. I feel like boot campers or graduates are at this stage. you have the education, you did the practice, you have, some of the core basic things that are needed, right, in this profession. But now what, right? So your begin point is one, and then your destination is the next part of this. We're going to start, the first thing we're going to talk about is the mental discipline. Okay, this is a mental discipline, and I'll talk about mental disciplines, and I'll have action items attached to it as I go. I'll try to keep it balanced that way. The first mental discipline is to have a career plan. Internally, you need to identify your destination. So just like we talked about the Google Maps, where do you see yourself in this field? What does success look like to you? So I'm going to go back here. This, for me, obviously, is Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A, so that's one thing. But, but in your scenario, in your case, you probably put in whatever you're looking for, right? What success in this career, in this field looks like to you. That's why, I put together this quote. It's powerful. It can assist you with over 1 million routes, but it cannot think for you. It cannot decide where you're going or where you're starting from. So it's important to remember that in this entire talk of what we're going to be discussing. First, mental discipline, have a career plan. So when we talk about a career plan or destination, it's like, well, you just graduated Bootcamp, or you're an entry-level UX designer. Where do you see yourself? It's one of those questions that people barely have answers to. Like, where do you see yourself? So what are some examples and some destinations that are possible, right? I'm going to give you examples throughout this talk as well to get the brain thinking and to get your minds going. Job security, right? A lot of people want job security. They want to be able to have a full-time job and also have the ability to find a job when they're looking for a job, right? And some people even take it as far as wanting jobs to come to them, right? So whatever it is you're looking for job security, these are examples of the destinations that people are looking to get to, right, in this career. So job security, or you might want to be an influencer. You might want to be this image and create this following on social media or YouTube or whatever it is. If that's that's the destination you're looking for, that's your decision. That's that's your kind of success destination there. You might also want to be an author or a speaker. You might want to work for a large corporation. Ooh, I want to work at PayPal, or I want to work at other companies. That's great. You might want to. You might be in this field, and your success destination might be to create social impact, right? Or to support a cause with your UX design work, design for change, all these great social impact ideas and movements that are out there. That could be your passion. That could be your ideal, success destination. That's fine. All of these are great, by the way. I mean, it could even be monetary. Like you just want to, have the freedom of buying what you want and spending how you want. And that's fine too. Or you might want to be, you might want to get to a point where you're making industry impacts, right? Industry specific. So we're going to talk about this a few slides down, where there's so many different industries that you can work for as a UX designer. You might have a specific affinity to one, and that's also a good destination or success, career success that you can have. Or you might want to create your own agency in the long run. So that's something that you could also, set as a destination. The whole point of this is to have a destination, not just to choose anything randomly, but this is a mental discipline. This is something that you're going to have to put your heart into it throughout this process to identify that success destination. What does being a successful UX designer in your world, in your eyes, what does that look like? Okay, moving on. So now the action item that's attached to this mental discipline is to research your success destination. User experience practice covers a wide spectrum of verticals. I'll give you some examples of this as well in the human-computer interaction space, but investigate all of these various types and find one that's aligned with your success destination. I hope all of this is making sense. So let's say you identify your destination as job security. Well, personally, I want it to be one of the most sought after UX designers. I just want it to be a sought after UX designer. So that would be my destination, right? Instead of Chick-fil-A, right? For the time being. So that could be yours as well. But for the sake of having an example, we're going to use that, be a sought after designer. That's destination. So that's my destination. Here are some examples of destinations. Some examples of UX roles. These are the verticals. So you did UX design, you did the research and kind of the generalized, educational preparation or, learning. But within UX or under UX, there's so many. We have UX designer who's more of a generalist, product designer who focuses more on product as a whole. Visual, you have to research each of these examples, right? I'm getting you excited. The point of this talk is to get you, just open up your expectations a little bit to kind of show you what's out there, what's possible. UX researcher, a UX researcher focus on research. And even under that, you have, alongside that, you have UX analysts who work hand in hand with the researchers to evaluate data, et cetera. And then you have a content strategist and a content designer. Then you have a UX unicorn, quote unquote, who's mostly the one that's doing the design and the development. And then you have the front end designer or developer who's essentially the coder, but not necessarily coding back end, work, only focusing on the interface coding or programming, right? That's mostly a front end developer. I'll still classify them under the user experience, practice. I see UX researchers is here twice. Or you could be an e-commerce designer. So that's the same. Well, it's not the same. None of these are the same. They're very similar. But an e-commerce designer just specializes in like the e-commerce space, online shopping, user behavior, conversions increase, and this, that, e-commerce specialty. And then you have VUI, which is the voice UI designer. You have Alexa and Google and all these different things coming out. A mobile designer will focus mostly on mobile work. So they won't touch any web work or they might do tablet, but they won't do any web work because they specialize in mobile. All that is just a decision to go down that route. Okay, I hope you understand where I'm going with this. So large companies will have like a mobile department. They just work on the app or work on the the mobile responsive version of the website. But those are, mobile devices come with unique rules and regulations. So even though you design this as part of your broader work, in the real world, there is an opportunity to specialize in that. Enterprise UX designer, someone who just focuses on enterprise, software. So really large companies have software for all sorts of things, different versions and different functionality, et cetera. It's more really large scale. That would fall under enterprise UX design. And you have information architecture who focus on the information structure, organization of the interface experience, et cetera, and so on and so forth. So these are just examples, just to kind of get you like, yo, I'm a graduate, or once I'm done, where do I want to go? These are some options. You see what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about, how to really figure out what gets you excited here in the next few slides. So the other example UX role is industry specific. Now this part really excites me. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you can really focus in on one industry and be successful. Like if you're passionate about numbers or well, money, but finance, you can say, hey, I want to specialize in financial technology. And then that being your destination will help you. First of all, having any destination at all is going to help you because it will kind of guide your journey, right? Which is very important. You cannot take a journey if you don't know where you're going. So that's important. But once you're able to go through this process of really identifying something that aligns with your heart, with your passion, it's easy for you to take off. Financial technology, you got companies like PayPal and all these other even banks, etc. These are all financial technology, and there are certain guidelines and way of thinking when it comes to designing financial products. You see, and then there are also mindsets and restrictions that guide that you can be that you're privy to, and also the sensitivity with like user information and data and how that relates to governments and territories that you're designing for, et cetera. It's really exciting. It's really a really exciting space. So that's financial technology. You have education technology, which is where I met Mark. It was an education technology startup building education software, right? That's used to teach. And then, it's used to teach, but then learning technology is different. So that's more so on the courses, creating courses and designing interfaces that help people learn. So these are all so exciting, but they're all under user experience, human-computer interaction. You see, I hope you're getting excited as I'm going through this list. Automotive, I actually did some work, I think maybe a couple years in the automotive industry, where I built the experience design for an auto auction software company, which is like the second largest in the United States. So, but I didn't even know the automotive industry existed in that regard. But that's there. You have all these cars and dealers and dealerships, and that's an industry that's waiting to be saved, quote unquote. You have software as a service, which is just SaaS. So you have your usual Slack and Miro and everything else that we know. Even PowerPoint could be software as a service because we're paying monthly for it. And then you have healthcare. That's another exciting space. Just creating experiences in the healthcare space. You can literally go through this list, find find one that aligns, and speaks to you, and delve into that to really help you define your destination success. Okay, I hope we're getting somewhere already. So those are just some examples of UX verticals, all right, that you can enjoy and be a part of. Now, the action item here, I think I said this. The action item is to research your success destination. So now that I've given you all these different sample roles and industry-specific roles, etc., your job is to go in and do some more research. You're going to have to do a lot of research, but it's something drastic or draining. It's just something that you should be excited about, right? Because it's like you're in front of 35 or 50 doors and you're just excited to you get to open and peek, see what it is like, and then decide which one you want to go in. Yes, it's going to be work, but that's why you're here. You sign up for this, and the end result is going to be great. So do some more research, look into all these different options, voice, e-commerce, research, and then see which one really speaks to you, because that will get you closer to identifying where you want to be, where you see yourself as far as that success, career success in UX. The next mental discipline is to know your starting point. Obviously, so we talked about your destination, which is the being a highly sought after UX designer. And then the starting point is important. I put this heart here because I think this ties closely to your heart in the sense of your passion, your creativity, that place, that place that you start from, right? Whatever your decision to pursue this field came or spurred from somewhere. So that starting point is what I want you to tap into. Now, this next slide here, you're going to see well, the examples are creativity and passion. That's what I just said. And then it could be monetary. Hey, we're not going to judge anyone. Okay, because this is real. People need to pay their bills. So it could just be a monetary starting point for you. You're like, hey, look, my current role is not really paying much, and it's not helping out. I need to make a career, transfer or swap, whatever it is, and then you discovered UX, and you're like, yeah, I want to do it. So that's fine. Or if you needed something easy. So this part, though, if you needed something easy, this is not going to be it for you, because UX is going to be, this journey is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be involving, but it's so worth it. Super, super worth it. So that third part is the only thing that won't work for you. That's kind of how that's kind of your mentality of why you got into the field. You need something easy, quick money. It's not quick. But another good example is maybe you wanted to effect change, social causes, etc. That's a great starting point and reason and why. Or you wanted to have job security. So you can have that job security as your starting point, maybe because you've been laid off a few times in your industry. Your past industry hasn't really proven to be efficient and sufficient. So you're looking to just make that move, and UX just happens to be perfect or right there for you. That's wonderful. So these are all great examples. But the action item here is you're going to have to spend some time with yourself. You're the only one who can answer this question of your starting point. I can't tell you, hey, this is the reason you got into UX. You're going to have to answer it honestly, truthfully, and that's the first step of the journey. This answer and, being honest with yourself is going to guide everything that follows. Okay. Because your starting point here, Google, based on where you start, Google can give you multiple routes. It would affect the time that you get there. It would affect a lot of different things. So it's important to really just be honest with yourself, and do not be ashamed to admit, hey, I just really want to be able to have job security to be able to provide. Done. Great. But you're honest with yourself. That's going to affect how you proceed, and that's fine. But the end result, the goal is to get you there to that success destination that you're looking for as far as your UX career goes. Okay. So that's for the first step, right? And the mental discipline and the action item. Keep in mind, the goal is to get you excited about what's next. And what's next is endless. There are endless possibilities after bootcamp, because this discipline is so exciting. You can do everything, anything, and everything is possible. Everything is possible. But there is a huge roadblock. You need a job in order to get a job. And I think a lot of people on this call can attest to that. You're trying to apply for a job. You either need 2 years of experience, or you need 1 year of experience, but you just got started, and it's just very complex and not very encouraging. And I understand that, but everything is still possible. That success destination that you're looking to achieve is still possible here. You're looking to be that highly sought after UX designer. It's still possible. You want to have jobs come to you. It's still possible, right? Even though there are going to be these roadblocks that you encounter. The secret is really to have a strategy. So this talk is going to be one of the most important talks. You're going to go to a lot of talks that will talk about, the details of like, okay, this is really how you use this tool. Those are very important, as you'd see in more slides, but you got to have a strategy. All of those are ingredients that's going to help you cook that perfect meal, that career success that you're looking for. It's a strategy. Every next step of yours must be intentional, strategic, result-oriented. The type of job you apply to, the website you apply to, the website you create a profile on, which ones you fill the profile up completely, what features you use in a social network, how you even connect, the type of people you connect with. I'm telling you, the strategy is everything. None of these influencers that you see on LinkedIn that you follow, that you love, none of that is accidental. A lot of us actually strategically put certain things in place in order to get to where we are, right? So keep that in mind. That's the secret sauce strategy. The mental discipline. We're back to another mental discipline here. So if you want to be a highly sought after UX designer, you have to be found. And my favorite book has this quote, and I love it. It says, "No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket. Rather, it is set on a lampstand where it gives light to the whole house." I love candles, so I have like a candle actually going. I don't know if you guys can see me. I can't see anyone, but if you can see me, great. I'm holding a candle and it's lit. But if the whole room was dark and I turned the lights off, I wouldn't want to put that under the table. I mean, this is basic, stuff, right? But it's like you put it up so it can do its job and shine and bright. Now, when you decide that you want to be highly sought after as a UX designer, how are people going to find you? You have to be found, right? It's kind of like the whole Finding Waldo situation. Like, you have to be positioned properly in order to be found. So that is why this talk is also very important, okay? So being found, what does that mean? How can you be found? The action item is to strategically network. Strategic networking. This is different from like, oh, just network, get online and add people, boom, boom, boom. That's great, but what I'm talking about is this is like serious, deep. So bear with me here, just kind of level with me a little bit. What strategic networking to me is being intentional. Every action is going to be intentional. From today onwards, you're not going to be just commenting and, arguing and just doing anything anyhow online anymore. It's going to be strategic, still authentic, still original, still passionate, still all things being equal, but it's going to be strategic because every relevant network that your research, this every relevant network that your research guides you to is talking about when you research all the different verticals, right, in relation to your success destination, there are going to be unique networks that can help you get there because they have communities that talk about maybe learning experience design or education design or fintech, groups or whatever. So they might not be on LinkedIn. They might be on Meetup. They might be on Clubhouse. They might be on wherever your research leads and guides you to. That's where you go. Do you see how everything we've talked about is shaping your next steps? So identify your destination, where you're trying to go, and then now you're putting some action items in place. This very first one is that strategic networking of figuring out, okay, I did my research and then I found out LinkedIn, Meetup, Clubhouse, these are the top 3 for UX, let's just say for financial UX designers, fintech design. Okay, great, boom. So now you've honed in on that. Now, in doing this strategic networking, I want you to focus on breadcrumbs. And I wish there's more I could say about this, but add me on LinkedIn. I'll talk about this later on. But you're going to be leaving value-added trails. So you identify the social networks that you need to plug into and be active on. That's great, but how do how are you still going to be found? These breadcrumbs, that's value-added involvement. Your likes, your reactions, your comments, opinions, articles, talks, and events that you join or be a part of, connections, people that you add. All of these are going to be leaving relevant, value-added trails to help people find you, to help the right audience find you. Internships, contract roles, or charity work, all of these are also value added breadcrumbs that would help people find you. Okay, I hope all of this is making sense. So let's go to the next slide here. I want to dig into the internship contracts and charity work. You need a job to find a job. How do you get the job to get the job? There are two jobs here. You need a job to get the job. See, in the life cycle of our career journey, it's important to understand the destination, where we want to go. That's your ideal. Where you are, which is great. You have the passion, you have your why, your reason for being in this field, but also you have the realization of, where am I as a UX designer? I am at point number one. I'm an entry-level designer. Okay, great. That's also important to identify, because then when you realize that I need a job to get the job, then you understand that the job, the second job, is the main one that you want. But in order to get there, you're just going through this first opportunity as a strategic stop or checkpoint in order to get to where you're going. So that's why internships are so important. Paid internships, unpaid internships, contract roles, 2-3 months, paid or unpaid. But the unpaid part, that's your decision, right? You have the right to demand paid only and stick with that. That's great. Or you can say, you know what, based on where I'm going, I could take the toll road. I could take the feeder road. Like, whatever it is, how to navigate it. That's your strategy. That's your call. You can do some charity work, volunteer work for free. But if that aligns with where you're going, please do it. See, the point is not to have right or wrong answers. The point is to understand strategy is what's going to get you to this destination of career success in UX. The internships and all these contract roles provide experience opportunity. Now, when you do this work, you get in that experience. Remember the job that you need to get the job? So your internships and contracts and charities fall under the first job category. So now you have job experience that are relevant in order to really add that on your resume, your portfolio, real work to be able to sell yourself. You understand? So this is also positioning you strategically to win. The breadcrumb trail that you leave behind by producing high quality work throughout these internships and contract and charity work is also going to help the right people come and find you. Every action is going to leave a trail on the internet. So when you strategically do all these actions, you're leaving strategic, valuable trails. That's going to make it very easy to locate and find you when you need to be found. Sometimes you might have to take a side job which will not be in the industry because the lights need to stay on at the house. That's fine. But if you have a strategy on where you're going, that is okay. In 2019, after I lost my job, this is 2019. After I lost my job, I was looking for a job, and I'm like, back then I had 8 years of experience, and I thought to myself, I have 8 years of experience. I've been working remote for about 3 or 4 years, and I know it shouldn't take me. It should, it's only taken me about a week to find jobs in the past because there's always something lined up. The next opportunity lined up. 2019 came and hit, and I lost my job, and I was like, oh, easy. I'll just find another one. But it took me 3 months before I landed my job at the Home Depot. And that 3 months for me was like, no, that's not going to happen. I refuse to accept this as the norm. You're going to know me. I'm going to strategically position myself so that I can be found when I want a job and in order to get that job security that I wanted. So as I was applying all of these strategies that I'm talking about, I had a side job. I started a whole different company. It was an appliance rental company while I was doing all of this. It is okay to take a side job or do something else that you may be passionate about. It might be something you're good at as a waiter. You might have jobs that are already lined up, but you're trying to get into UX and it's so difficult. Well, you can still do that and, save up those funds as you strategically take some internships or contract roles here and there, et cetera, to gather that experience and fill up, the workload, project work that you need, and the experience and the breadcrumb trail and all that you need in order to be able to sell yourself in that final interview that you're looking for at the company of your choice, or that success destination. LinkedIn Jobs is a great opportunity to find jobs. So, if you're not using it, sign up, use it. Angel.co. This is a social network for startups. I always talk about it, but it's just like Facebook or social networking for startups. Startups are on there. They're raising funds. They're hiring. It's social network. It's like really active. Uber, all these large companies are there. Almost every company is on there. That's a startup, or that used to be a startup. But the best part of this is, oh yes, and ProductHired. Oh God, we got to put that in here. ProductHired for sure. So the best part of this is, you have these networks that are readily available, accessible. Right now, with a startup, if you find a startup job, sometimes it comes with 0.1% stock or shares, and some startups might not be able to pay you. They'll say, "Hey, I'll give you 3% shares if you take this role, help us with some UX design." I know that there are lots of articles on there about, oh, you demand paid work, and if a company's not going to pay, it's not for you. This and that. Look, it's not somebody's decision. It is your call. But you have to have a strategy, because yes, you can be used and you can just do free work. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, if you have your strategy, your destination lined up, and this particular company is something you believe in that also falls in line with where you're going, and that experience would really matter in your journey, then please do it. Right? Do some negotiation, because one, you're getting that stock or shares, and that could be worth a lot of money later on when the company becomes large. If you do a great job, 0.1% of Uber will be sweet right now. See what I'm saying? So open your mind to the endless possibilities, because one article is great, but make the decision, but you have to have that strategy, throughout the entire journey. Okay. And then you have ProductHired. Now, ProductHired, look, one thing, I know Mark, and Mark's a great guy. I love this dude. But at the same time, ProductHired is a really great tool that they've built. And every time I text him, I'm like, Mark, I love the UI, UX on it. It's incredible. When you go on there, you can just go on there to get inspired. And, just the interaction, the animation, good job. Look, you guys are doing a great job out there. So I love it. But there are jobs on there that are ready to be applied to and just connected with. So why not get on there, apply? But you're not just going to be applying to any job now. Now you have to first go through what I said, right? Figure out where you're going and where you're starting from. And then that would help you figure out the type of role you want to apply to, so that when you get on these job boards, you know what you're looking for. Okay. So you're not just applying to UX designer role. Boom, remote. Hey, boom, boom, click. No, that's not, you shouldn't be doing that. Everything should be strategic. Okay, moving on. Now, let's go back to internships and contracts. As you're doing this work, okay, it's important to execute and deliver 10,000%. I'm using 10,000 in replacement of 100%, but you get the picture. 100%, all right, or 101. Produce super quality work. I'm gonna have to skip this slide here, and then I'll come back to action item 3. Produce super quality work. Give it your all. So this is why you went to Bootcamp. This is why you took the lessons. This is why you took the crash courses, and you studied. You worked very hard to get to where you are. You need to take all this work and learnings into your work. If you get that internship and in that contract or volunteer work, go in and execute, deliver impeccably. Because once you do that, boom, then that brings you to this action item 3. You attract recommendations. Notice that I didn't say ask for recommendations or seek recommendations or get recommendations to be posted on your LinkedIn, or no. You attract recommendations because as you're doing great work, your work ethic, soft skills, and collaboration skills are going to do the speaking for you. Not only at that early stage, but secret is even after you have 10 years of experience, even after a job comes to me, I have recruiters, tons of recruiters. Hey, Will, would you like to, hear about this new role we have? Like you saw, I just accepted a role, but you know what I'm saying? See, recruiters don't care. They want good talent and they will find it. They will negotiate. They will do whatever they can to find you or, find the right quality talent. So that's why I'm trying to help you understand how to be that quality talent so they can come and look for you and find, because they will. But you need to leave the right trails. You need to have the right. Now, these recommendations are going to come in handy even as you have 10 years. As I was saying, as you have 10 years of experience, you're still going to need this recommendation or reputation in your career, because the recruiters, yes, they're messaging you and they're going to be interviewing you or recommending you or willing to work with you, but they're asking about you. They're researching about you to see if you're actually even a nice person to work with. So see, this whole thing is a beautiful strategy. Like, I'm so excited. Just look, your internship, like you go in there, you're not just, people are like, oh, well, why would you take that unpaid internship? Well, you know what you're doing. You go in there, you execute, deliver, you do the research, you deliver high quality product. You're working beautifully, your soft skills, presentation, communication skills. You're collaborating with the team members, engineering, you're killing it. After you're done, you take that experience, your portfolio is looking great, you're building it. Now, later on down the line, it could be that same company that might have branched into something else or built another one, or, someone could leave that. Like Mark, so Mark hired me for Boomwriter. Boom. Thank God I just remembered. I can't see the screen. So if somebody posted in there to remind me, that's great. But if you forgot, that's fine too. But Mark hired me at Boomwriter. And Mark was the head of product. I was the lead product designer. And Boomwriter is an ed tech software. So we worked together. That was the first time I ever met Mark. Throughout the interview process and everything. But I went in there, delivered. I was genuine, authentic. And I gave it my all. Now it's been over 2.5 years, but we're still connected. That relationship, that network is still there. It's still solid. Do you understand? You're in a real life example of what I'm talking about. Putting your heart and delivering high quality work in everything you do. How that's really going to pay off. Okay, so that's what. Work ethic, collaboration skills, all of that, you attract recommendations. And, you do that by producing quality work and all of it and everything you do. Oh, okay. And continuous practice and learning during any waiting period, even outside of internship or volunteer work. So you're producing quality work at the internships, etc. But also, in order to keep growing, your boot camp may have graduated you, but you still need to keep learning, right? So that's that continuous practice here that I'm talking about. Because 1 year of experience is great, but you really get better as you go. Like I'm much better than I am now than I was 5 years ago, right? And I can see that in some of my past work. Like, man, that was horrible. But here I am doing, much better work. So you get better with more work, more practice, more experience. So keep doing that even after after graduation, right? On your own, outside of the internship and everything, you can still do that. I actually have tips in here about where to go find work, well, not work, but exercises, right? To help you sharpen your skills, etc. So this book is really just about tips. It's random. I talk about different things. I talk about tools, display hierarchy, minimalism, applying for jobs, whatever, just very different, but 101 random tips, literally just, put that together. So there's one in there that talks about some of the websites that you can go to find exercises, UX exercises that that you can keep practicing and learning after school. And then you got to have an online portfolio. Look, I hate to break it to you, but if you don't, you're probably not going to be looked at. Recruiters receive like thousands of applications. I haven't been able to respond to my inbox. If you message me, I'm so sorry, but my inbox is full. I can't, like, it's hard to manage now. So, and that's just me, like just a regular UX designer, senior UX designer on LinkedIn. But imagine recruiters and even the application pool plus their inbox pool. It's difficult. So if you don't have an online portfolio, which is just a click of a button to view, then you're really missing out on probably like 30%. You're starting at 70, and you're going against thousands of people who are not playing. People are working on their portfolios day and night to get it right, to keep iterating, to make sure that it's meeting the standard. Here are some portfolio tips, just quick ones. We're not, notice we're not really diving into any vertical. I want to give you the strategy, and then you go in, take that strategy, and just execute. The portfolio must be beautifully you. That's visual design, but also your personality. Like as you see here, it has personality. Add who are you? I want to be able to see you when I look at a portfolio. I've been part of hiring teams. When I look at a portfolio, I want to be able to see who this person is. Now, how you're going to interpret that, that's where your creativity comes in. Trust your creativity, trust in your abilities, trust in your uniqueness and your skill. You are different. Every graduate has the same portfolio, look and feel these days. Here is your call. You're looking for a sign. This is the sign. Stand out. It has to have your personality. You got to have a wow factor. What that is to me is just really make it memorable to me. When I get on there, if I look at 20 portfolios, am I going to remember yours? That's the question you ask. How? Then you answer that, and then you incorporate it into your portfolio. Make sure you have full length and short length versions of your projects. And of course, you highlight the the strong ones. Share your goals. Oh, this is important. Share your goals and your career vision. This can actually help you get that first phone call. The reason is when you're able to say, well, I'm looking at, like your blurb or whatever, however you do it, you say, I'm excited to solve complex problems. This is just an example. Don't type this thing detailed because everybody's probably going to type it. But I'm excited to solve complex problems in the financial space, or excited to, to help make online banking easier. That helps a recruiter know, wow, this guy's just focused on finance. Now that's good if you have a strategy. You're headed for the finance space. That's good because the right recruiter will be looking at your portfolio, and that's going to speak to them. You cannot speak to everybody. See, you can't speak to every recruiter. You can't try to generalize your portfolio so much so it gets diluted. It looks like everybody else, and you don't win. You can't stand out that way. So helping you identify and hone down it allows you to speak to the right audience, which is storytelling. I mean, that's a whole different talk, but that's storytelling where you're talking to the right audience in the language, using the explanation and the guide that would make sense to them, that would generate the results you're looking for. So the next part is to be proud of your previous roles. I also have a tip in the book about this don't be afraid. If you were a waiter, if you were, a mechanic, whatever you were, like, it's okay to say, hey, you can have that on your portfolio, highlight that, maybe not highlight, but like talk about it and share some thoughts and experiences there that help you now become a good UX designer. See, because, so what's my other, I'm an entrepreneur. So that's like my other, right? The other side of me. So I talk about that on my portfolio. I'm like, yeah, my entrepreneurial skills helps me understand the business acumen of everything I do in UX and the companies I built for. Because I understand, I've invested, so I get it. Like, I understand, hey, we're building a product for this reason. There's business involved, there's stakeholders involved. So whatever your previous role is or industry is, do not be afraid to talk about it and help us understand how that has helped you become a better UX designer or UX practitioner, right? Whether it's research, whatever it is, how has that influenced that? And if you don't know, think about it, right? Put something together. So these are just some tips, just quick tips for you, but very helpful. And then this last but one slide here is you have to be ready. So you got your destination, it's great, you know exactly where you're going. But you have to be ready. You have to read. That first point here is read. So read books, like you got to keep reading. Read UX books, read just books, just regular books, read, data books, read marketing books, like educate yourself on the spectrum. Because it just helps when you're well read and you understand, you can be a part of the conversation, even like in business meetings, so I mean, you never know when this is a real life experience. You never know when you're going to be thrown into an investor meeting as a UX designer. See, okay. Interview prep and readiness. So you can prepare, do some interview practice with friends or just YouTube or in the mirror. Just you have to constantly be prepping. I can interview right now with any company right this second. You put me in front of anyone, I'll be able to tell you exactly who I am and execute, because I've done it so many times. Like you remove anxiety, you remove nervousness and all these other things that you start feeling in the beginning. And now you become used to, talking about yourself, talking about your skill, your experience, and, and what you're excited to do for this new opportunity or company you're about to work for. You have to always be ready and be prepared. Develop the soft skills, speaking, communication skills. These are soft skills, like don't get too mad too quick, and all these collaboration skills that are needed in the workplace. So you have to work on these skills, speaking skills, communication skills. So as you're writing and you're plugging in and networking, strategically networking, you're working on these, but also writing skills. These are all skills that you need to develop so that when you're caught off guard, or even you get that message from a recruiter saying, hey, I have a role for you at PayPal, would you be interested? You're ready, right? Because you can still fail after that first phone call. See, we talk about, oh yeah, you need to get that first phone screening, but you can actually, you can fail. Like you could get the call, your breadcrumbs and everything could look good, your image, your reputation, recommendations, you could do all the work, and then you get found, but then when you're called, you don't deliver, like in that interview scenario. So that's also an important part. There are so many talks that will talk about, hey, interview prep, this and that. There are some talks coming up, by ProductHired and General Assembly. Go to these talks. See this. So this is how you prepare. You're learning. You're in the mix at all times, so that when the time comes and you're found, you're not going to let yourself down. Writing skills. Start writing, right? Start writing. I think it's important because it gets your brain. It's a different type of part of your brain. I used to hate reading and writing, and now I wrote this book and I'm writing another one. It's exciting because like I'm able to escape and write about something I'm passionate about. It's easy because I love what I do, and it's beautiful. Just start writing. Look into it. It's fun. And then take care of your mental health. That's like, step away from the computer, go for walks, work out, just really take a breather, pay attention to that, because that's important, right? And also applying to jobs and not getting rejected month after month after month. I know people that have gone 10 months, 11 months, 12 months without, finding a job. Take care of your mental health, and, just realize that we're all in this together, in the sense of, we've all been there. Like I've been there, prior to that 3 months. I mean, before, I think maybe around my fourth year or something, had a period where I got rejections for so long. Everybody goes through it, but you still have to have a strategy in order to get to that destination. Okay. And nothing's going to come easy. This is that mental discipline, that I was just talking about. But it's very possible and within reach if you really want it. You're going to have to work hard, persevere, like go understand It's going to be difficult, but it's worth it. I have all the large companies they're ready. They're like, hey, Will, just let us know. And I'm like, but I just accepted a role. I can't, sorry. I just accepted a role with PayPal. I'm loving it. Great. I can refer certain people to you, right? But that's where I wanted to be. And for me, that's why I do these talks, to be able to help others and entry-level designers say, look, this is possible if you do it right. If you have a strategy, you can get to that point where your inbox is full of not just mentees or people looking to connect with you, but recruiters that are like, hey, I see you just accepted a role, but would you be interested in like just speaking with me about this role that just came up? Even to the point of saying, hey, what if we gave you a better offer? I mean, you can position yourself in a way that recruiters are going to negotiate. They're going to try to increase their salary or increase the package or the benefits or whatever just to get you. But you have to have a strategy. And when you get in, you have to deliver. So, I hope this whole thing makes sense somehow and you can understand. At the core is this guy here, the secret sauce. Where is that slide? The secret sauce slide is around here somewhere. Strategy. The crux of this talk is every next step of yours must be intentional, strategic, and result oriented. If you know where you're going into voice UX, well, let's go follow some conversational design and voice UI design groups and connect with them and plug in value added comments and, opinions and activity. You're leaving trails, you're picking jobs in the voice UI arena. You're taking internships in that arena, you see, because you know where you're going. You're not going to be applying to like education UX jobs. You understand? Now, if you're unsure, that's fine, but it's important if you can sit down with yourself, spend all the time you need, even if it's a week, to just figure out where you want to go. That would help you because it's very easy once you identify it, like education technology, great. You find the, education companies that are hiring and you work your way into getting in with one of them on an internship or whatever. Then the next step, you have that experience, you apply to the big one that you're looking to apply to. Well, you have experience in that same vertical. It's easy for them to say, all right, well, and even in an interview, it's easy for you to talk about it because they're speaking the same language as you are. If you're in finance or fintech, even if it's a bank and you're applying to like another fintech company, you're speaking the same language. It's easy to like, you're like one step ahead of someone who does not have that fintech experience. Strategy, secret sauce. Every next step of yours must be intentional, strategic, and result oriented. That's the end of my talk, and I hope this has been helpful. Add me on LinkedIn, connect with me on ProductHired coaching for one-on-one coaching, and buy the book. There's so many good things in there. But thanks for your time. I hope this is beneficial.
Hey, William, can you go to the breadcrumb screen? Somebody wants to see that again.
Okay, sorry, I can't see anything, all the chats, but let me do that. And I'll
there you go.
Yes, there you
go. And again, this video will be online afterwards, so you can also get that. Okay, be sure to enter your Q&A questions into the Q&A little thing on the right-hand column, and we'll start Q&A. I'll go ahead and shut down this share. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so let me go ahead and share window, share. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So Q&A. So while you put in questions, I'm going to go kind of wrap this down. So some of you who want to leave can do that. But I do want to show you the next events. So don't forget this. While you're writing your Q&A, we'll go do Q&A in a second. So remember May 11th, 6 p.m. is my Path Through Data Science interviews by Shikai Zhao. Great guy. And so we're really looking forward to that talk. And then May 27th, Guys, you have 1 month to make your portfolio shine. And if you haven't made it, to make it, right? And you can bring it to Cindy, and Cindy loves doing this, and who knows, William might just show up by chance. You never know what William might do. But we'll do a portfolio review, and that's going to be really, really amazing. Then coaching. William mentioned this, and I'm going to mention it again. Guys, there's so much coaching available on ProductHired, and a lot of it's free. Like we have, and just because it's free does not mean it's bad coaching. Let me tell you, we have Google PMs who they cannot charge for coaching, so they do it for free. And while it's very hard to get scheduled with them, but you can do it. Every week they get openings. So do that, resume reviews, portfolio reviews, career coaching, and interview prep. If you want to do interview prep, there's a lot of people who do that. So, definitely check it out. Again, there's free, there's paid, and most of the paid people are really cheap. Not all of them. Some of them are more expensive than others, but definitely there's a person for every budget. Also, internship. So ProductHired is looking for an intern. And since William talked about that,
do it, everybody, do it.
I needed to make this slide really quick. And so we're looking for help on ProductHired. I will be the first one to say we're so cheap we can't afford to pay anyone. So this is totally an experience thing. So if you're not interested in that, no problem, no harm, no foul. But we're looking for UX researchers and UX design people. And to give you a hint, we're doing research right now on building out profiles, talent profiles. So not to replace LinkedIn profile, but to make something very product focused. And so if you ever thought, wow, LinkedIn is great, but I wish it only did this because I'm a product, there you go. So we're going to be doing research into that and building that out and launching that hopefully this summer, both the design and the research on that. So if you're interested, you can email me, markme@producthired.com. And and then we're going to go back to do QA, so don't freak out. But join our meetup group to get future events. Be sure to subscribe, and subscribe to YouTube because you'll be getting all of this stuff. And you'll just do search for ProductHired on YouTube, and you can give feedback. ProductHired Job Club PHJC-feedback@bit.ly. Okay, going back to Q&A, and I'm going to shut this down. Okay, so here's your question, William. For $1,000.
Am I this large on everybody's screen?
You are this, I think you're this large on everybody's screen.
God.
You're larger than life. Depends on the size of the monitor. Okay, what should you do if your professional work is under an NDA? Oh, we get this question all the time. My job title is not designer, but I'm working extra hours with the design team, doing design sprints, user testing, etc. My portfolio work is all self-made projects.
Oh, okay.
That's for you, William.
That's for me. Okay. So, what should you do if you're, so the NDA part, normally you can't post it on public, but there are laws that protect you, that protects you and allow you to talk about it, but leave out the critical, information, right? So the NDA, like you have to read the NDA, look into it and find out what the limitations and restrictions are, because you may still be able to talk about other parts of that, project without breaking your NDA. Okay. And if you're working extra hours with the design team, you have to be able to highlight that. That's work. That's experience. You have to be able to talk about that. You're not necessarily going to be able to put that in as an official work, as an official work experience, but you'll be able to say, hey, these are extra roles that I was a part on, extra projects that I was a part on, and these are the roles that I took under each project, and you can add that on your portfolio as well. So-
One thing I would add to this, William, about the NDA thing, once something goes public, that means the website goes live, it's public domain. And you can talk about it. I mean, you can't talk about all the company's secret data that made you make a decision. Yeah. You can say that you got data to make a decision. You just won't be able to specifically say what that data is, but you can put on your profile all the stuff. Another thing I found at companies is if I think that they may not agree, I actually get my whole team to say, we want to put this on our LinkedIn profile and promote it. And if the whole team says it, then it's harder for a manager, because also the manager thinks, why do you want to put this on your resume?
Yeah.
You believe us, right? But I make, I'm a good manager. William will tell you this. I want my team to put it on their LinkedIn. Like, I want them to highlight their stuff, even while they're working for me. And I just tell them, don't leave me. So, and quite frankly, people like to stay working with me, and they leave when it's the right time for them, and I'm happy for them. Yeah. So definitely, think about it. But if you don't want to be sticking your neck out there, get the whole team to do it, and you all put it on your LinkedIn. And I believe LinkedIn, at least it used to have a team kind of thing where you could have like, these are the members of the team, and this is what we produced.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. And ProductHired might do that someday. So,
and you can add a password to that as well. People do that. They have projects that are password protected. So you only send that to that specific hiring manager that you're applying to. You're not just sending that, putting that on your resume and just blasting it on Monster or, ProductHired or whatever. Like, you're not doing that. You're being very strategic, right? So that's really how you win. Put the password on there, and then you apply to a specific role, and then you send that in your cover letter or something. Say, hey, this is the password to this project. So that's
next question. What is the difference between a short version versus a long version of a portfolio?
Well, so I didn't mean the long version of the portfolio. I meant the projects. So I think, Mark, I saw you answered that. But yeah, just simply not necessarily long and short version, that's duplication, but mostly picking up your high, what's the word I'm looking for? Your strong projects, right? Okay. So your strong projects, highlight your strong projects, but you want to have amongst your entire project pool, you want to have certain projects that are just, that you don't go into as much detail, because based on who you're targeting to look at your portfolio, they might want to see details. And then others might want to see, just give me the high level bird's eye view, right? Just to understand what you did. And then I'll call you maybe on a third call, you can take me to the detail. So you can actually, for each project, do a short version, which is like a summarized bird's eye view version. That's not hard to do. And then you can have that full version. It could just be that summarized version from end to end at the top part. And then the next following part is when you start digging deeper. Okay, discovery, this is what I did. Research, this is who I work with. This is, but then the bird's eye view or short version will just be, hey, this was a project about XYZ, and and my role essentially was this and that, boom, 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 just kind of summary, but still informative enough.
Cool. Okay. As a junior UX UI designers, how should we prepare and sell ourselves in an interview for an industry sector with no experience and understanding? So I'm clueless, and I'm interviewing with a thing that I'm clueless about. How should I prepare?
Sorry, Claude. The reason I'm laughing is because my brain is like, do I just say give a real, an honest answer, or do I try to be, presidential? So I'm gonna give the honest answer because that's just the image. That's just who I am. I cannot lead you guys astray. If you're a junior designer and you're entering an industry sector that you have no experience in understanding, don't enter that industry, because you're gonna likely not succeed. That's why you have to do the research.
Get
It's
understanding.
important to do that research. You cannot try to sell yourself in a sector that you have no understanding, like no experience, no understanding. The experience part, that's why I said, once you identify, hey, I want to go into finance, you don't have experience. That's great, Claude. But your strategy is going to help you find an internship or volunteer work or freelance or something that can get you, get you some basic experience as you prepare for that big job, that main job that you want. The reason why I say that is because you can try and you can say, oh, like I could do it, boom, I know I could do the job. But then the hiring manager won't take that risk because they have to report to their supervisors on who they're hiring. Like, when Mark hired me, he was the head of product. He had to go up, go and report. All right, these are the candidates I'm hiring. Well, they're gonna ask, okay, what are they? What's their qualifications? What are they bringing to the table?
Who's that William guy?
Yeah, like who's William? Oh, this guy, he worked at XYZ. Okay, great. So it's not like, you have to understand, everyone's got a boss until you're talking to the CEO. So they have to report to their superiors, and it's going to be hard to sell you. Even though you're selling yourself, you're great, but it's going to be hard to sell you from a hiring manager's perspective. So it's important to do your research. You can still apply if it's like an entry-level role or something. But you have to do your research and understand it. You have to understand what they do. I can't tell you enough how many companies that were complex, a bit too complex for me to understand what they did, and how the interview failed. Because you go in there, you think the company, like, okay, there was a time where I was applying to like hundreds of jobs at once, right? You're gonna run into that. But and that's when your strategy is not really refined and all that. But when you do that, and the company asks you, hey, so this is what we do. Why are you interested in this role? Your answer becomes very shallow. Like I try to really spin it and be like, well, I think I'm perfect for this role because boom, 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 this and that. But it just wasn't really hitting it because I didn't really understand what the company did. I try to just make it work, but it shows. It's gonna show. Like they're gonna see through it. So anyway, just I hope I didn't break your heart, but do more research and you're gonna feel more confident when you show up to sell yourself, right? And then you can kind of create that alignment. So, but add me up, Claude, and hopefully I can help you one-on-one or something.
Cool. Next question. Jasmine says, I heard from a product hiring manager at LinkedIn that student projects, solo projects in a portfolio really don't cut it. I wanted to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank God. So I said, thank God, Jasmine, because there, and as I said about the valuable, what was the value added networking, right? Strategic networking. This is part of it. I've been in so many talks and so many conversations and panels and all that. And there's certain things that we all don't agree on as senior UX designers. This is one of them, like student portfolio. Those are great, but I promise you, you're going up against candidates that have taken internships. If a candidate took an internship at Apple and you're like, hey, I did, some concept work or solo projects, and you love it, it's great, it looks wonderful, Spotify redesign, beautiful. But you're going against a candidate that did an internship at Apple. It was probably unpaid, but it's like, it's just tough to compete because of the saturation, because of the level of the entire industry and competition right now. It's tough. You have to really come prepared, come with a strategy, and plan your steps if you're gonna win, right? But yeah, no, I agree with that LinkedIn hiring manager. Like, yeah, that product manager. Solo projects are great. It helps to understand your creative scope and scale, but that's solely, that can get you into those are going to get you into the right positions. Okay. Let me just qualify this. I don't want to send the wrong message. If all you have is student work but even student work, sometimes you're partnering up with real companies. So it's like a hybrid thing going on. That's great. But if you have solo work and student work, you're more likely to get a job at a startup that's looking, right? That's not really getting any love from, senior UX designers or mid-level designers like myself. We're like, if you're not going to pay me like my time right now, I can't do that. So, but then you're here, you're ready, you have the skills and the passion, and this thing this company aligns with your destination. You're going to win. You're going to cut it there, even with a solo project. Okay. So don't get it wrong. But if you're trying to go with the big guys with that final destination, like I want to go work at PayPal, that won't cut it. So I hope that clarification was helpful.
If I might add something. So again, it depends on the company. Also depends on the hiring manager, to be frank. So hey, you're going to do better than someone who doesn't have projects, right? So it's about the competition, and entering into the next question about people. I said William is so funny. I was chatting about you and about what I thought about your portfolio while you were talking. You probably didn't see it.
I know. I just saw that.
Yeah, and then you started talking about how you put entrepreneurism in your portfolio, and I had already mentioned that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. So it kind of interested this. William's portfolio stood out different than the other people's portfolio for a couple of reasons, right? And so let me answer this next question in that context. So again, when I was interviewing for Boomwriter, I interviewed a lot of people, probably too many people, right? And when I interviewed William, I saw William as an engineer immediately. Like when I first started talking to him, I saw him as a front-end engineer, and I'm like, oh God, this is not the right time for me, right? But I had coffee with him, and I looked at the portfolio, and I started seeing some things that attracted me to his mind. To your mind, William. It was so beautiful, right? And when I had coffee from him, the passion just leaped off. I mean, he's excited here. Imagine sitting at a Starbucks pre-COVID, and he was like in my face. It was just so crazy. And what I saw, what I said is your portfolio needs to show your methodology, your passion, how you think, and it needs to be beautiful if you're in design, right? UX research and wireframing is a little bit different. What I was hiring for was a UX researcher mixed with a designer. And when I looked at William's portfolio, I liked a lot of aspects of his design. I'll be honest, I didn't like all your designs.
As usual.
But I saw the rough potential. But what I saw that shone was the amazing mind and the entrepreneurism and the creativity that a startup needed, right? Like I knew I could hand something over to William and he would run with it, right? And he did. And so what I looked at there is I was just amazed, and I'm like, this is my guy, right? And I interviewed people who had 6 years of experience. They've written academic papers on user design and research, and they seemed so super smart, but I'm like, no, like can't imagine working with this person for too long. But that's what about William's portfolio I really liked is his entrepreneurial creativity, and I knew that would fit in the startup, right? Now, if I was working at Google, I might be looking for something else.
Exactly.
Right? And so, but that's what I was looking at Boomwriter, which was a startup. William became the design team, and he did exactly what I did. In fact, the company couldn't move fast enough for him because obviously we have stories, war wounds there. But that's what I was looking for, and it was personality shown through. So I hope that answered the question. Okay, next one. Will this continue to be available? Yes, it'll be on YouTube. Is it advisable to create a separate PPT portfolio for a PowerPoint portfolio for job interview?
Yuri, PowerPoint portfolio for a job interview. Oh, okay. Well, so during the interview process, yes, there's going to be a portfolio presentation um, uh, 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 segment, right? Step, whatever we call it. You go through phone screening, you talking to the hiring manager, and then you have a design review, whatever it is. So yes, if you're preparing something like that to have on hand, absolutely. As a matter of fact, prepare as many material as you want to prepare while you have all the time in the world. You can even prepare industry-specific material if you wanted to, right? Because maybe you're still trying to figure out, maybe you have 3 top industries you like to work in. It's okay. Have one that's kind of geared towards the financial technology, hiring manager, and one that's whatever it is. But the point I was speaking to is don't let that be your only portfolio. Because I have people that have been in my talks all of last year. I did so many talks that reconnected with me, and they're like, hey, well, I'm still working on my portfolio. No. It's been a year. Like, you got to have an online portfolio. So that is the base. Now, you can have as many PowerPoint or PDFs or whatever you want to support that, but the online is the base, most important key right now in the state of UX.
Okay, cool. So here's how best would you present yourself in LinkedIn, for example, when you have a job in another industry without red flagging yourself? Should you remove your current job status, minimize them? So, and I don't know if she's here. I think, yeah, she. Like, you're a different role. You can post on the chat. I can see a different role, or you mean like completely different industry, like fintech versus health tech? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. Completely different industry. So it's an industry question. So from one industry, let's say she's in fintech and going over to ed tech. What do you understand? How would you present yourself?
No, can she ask it audibly?
Let's see if I can do this.
Hey Sherry, can you ask it audibly?
I'm going to try to. This used to be a feature on here. Got to find. There we go. Invite to stay.
There's something.
Come on down. You're on The Price is Right.
Hi.
Howdy.
Well, my question is when you're in a completely different industry, and I haven't really updated my LinkedIn because I don't want a big red flag that I'm trying to transition over, but obviously I want to apply those skills. So should I just kind of keep that summarized at the end, or like, that makes sense?
That makes sense, but does it matter if you give us like detailed examples?
Well, I currently am in the hospitality world, but I'm wanting to transition into UX, obviously. But if I update my resume, do I just kind of minimize that? Because I just don't want it to be a red flag for the work now.
Okay, so you're currently in a different industry. That's point number one. I understand that. Now, this next part you're talking about, are you already in a role in some capacity, or you're looking to enter or apply into like UX, like you're trying to?
Once I finish my boot camp, yes.
Okay. So don't remove it. My advice would be keep it on your resume and on your LinkedIn and everything. But as you explain it in the manner you would to its fullest capacity, to let the hiring manager or whoever's reading it understand that you excelled in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Also add, that part of how that has helped you or contributed to your UX journey somehow, right? Because not necessarily trying to tie it to it, because not every industry is going to have direct relations. But if it was hospitality and you maybe work with people and you kind of, had to ride along the ever-changing, I guess, behaviors of the people you work with or your customers. Just somehow think about what you do now and what you're learning now, and see if there is any help there that your previous role has given you, and then just add that on top of in that underneath that role. Just highlight that and say, hey, look, this has helped me be this person in this way. and then move on with it. But it's not gonna be a red flag at all, because I see people that are senior UX managers, and you go through their LinkedIn profile, and it's like, oh, they were in like a whole entirely different field a few years ago. So it's fine.
Well, I just kept it off in the meantime, just to avoid it, just because I didn't want it to flag. Because you know how LinkedIn, your contacts and people, it'll pop up saying, oh, this person is doing this.
You can actually don't have to do that. It'll ask you when you update your LinkedIn whether you want to share that with your network. Just don't. My other advice on this, sorry to interrupt, William.
No, go for it.
Interrupting the speaker. It's so funny. But it's, you know your company. If they see you start fiddling with your LinkedIn and they're going to fire you, well then, that's up to you. Like, you need to make that decision whether or not you want to put your neck out there. I would put it on LinkedIn, and I have all sorts. You can look at my LinkedIn. I have lots of stuff on my LinkedIn, right? So anybody looking at my LinkedIn, they're not even going to know what company I'm working at, because I'm working at 3 of them continuously. So it's, now, but people hire me knowing that. So now that I kind of set up that idea, it's not a problem for me. But yeah, that first time, it's a scary step.
It is.
And so your company, if they're looking on your LinkedIn, you can actually see that. You could block people from seeing your LinkedIn profile, but even that's going to make them want to look at you. Like, what's going on, right? Yeah. You could create a new LinkedIn profile, right?
It's too much. It's too much work.
It's too much, right? So,
well, the industry I'm in, unfortunately, is kind of on the cutthroat side. So I just don't want it to flag where someone, it's a little.
Then that
aspect. So that's why I put UX student or whatnot, but I didn't put my actual resume in there, so it doesn't flag anybody in any way.
If it's pretty cutthroat, then you gotta play by the rules. Yeah, and that's totally fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna kick you off the stage now. Boom. Okay, and we're gonna answer these next ones 30 seconds or less each. Okay, William? Can you do that on discipline? Okay. What unusual characteristic that is unexpected contributed to you being a winning UX designer, William? Are hires more interested in your experience or potential, social skills, or tech skills?
Sure, that's you again. Okay, I laugh because they want it all. Okay, that's the reality. They want it all, but based on, as we were talking about, it depends on the hiring manager. It depends on the industry you're applying in. It depends on the vertical. So you could be more, they could be looking at your tech skills, mostly if you're going into the tech, I guess the more programming world. As far as social skills and soft skills, you're going to need that regardless. So yes, you're going to need that. And you just want to be a fun person to work with, right? So your collaboration is going to be important. How you relate to people, the way you're talking to your hiring manager, if they feel comfortable, if you're able to communicate with them, they're looking at a lot of things. So I think it's important to just understand human-computer relations, but also you're doing human-to-human relations throughout your interview process and your career. So what unusual characteristic that's unexpected contributed to me? For me, I think it was, so I do a lot of things. Like, I'm writing a book and, but this is how this energy, maybe my energy would be an unusual characteristic, but it just keeps going. Like entrepreneur, I formed businesses and sold some, and so I've been doing a lot, just staying busy. So I think those are all fun to talk about in interviews. Yeah.
Okay, that was not 30 seconds. Let's do the next one. Where can you find internships as a boot camper, ProductHired? Most I've seen are only for college juniors or seniors.
ProductHired.
So let me clarify that. ProductHired, we don't have roles for internships on our site. We need an intern. Quite frankly, for people not, for like freshmen or sophomore, or even juniors or seniors, you got to use your network. You got to use networking. There is no website out there that's going to have internships on there, or very few.
Yeah. So do the angel.co. Like, go to angel.co. I'm telling you, startups. So as far as internships and just like paid or unpaid, it's a startup network. So that's going to be your first spot, right? And then you have the 2 product hired roles that are coming up, internships that are coming up. If that aligns with your destination, you have to jump on it, right? And then you have LinkedIn, network, and also LinkedIn job board. They just search, internship based on the vertical you're looking in, and you should be able to find it in other job boards as well. Yeah.
Cool. Next question. David asks, do you find it hard to get a good candidate because there's so many great designers, or do you find it harder to get a good designer because the stuff you review is middling and mediocre and nobody stands out?
Huh. That's a really great question, Mark. I want you to answer this as well, but let me kind of throw it out. So the first part, there's so many good designers. Would I say there's so many good designers? I wouldn't say that. Personally, I wouldn't say there's so many good designers. I feel like everyone is, someone's laughing. I feel like everyone is good, but not like good. You know what I mean? I don't know. So there's that. But then there is also, do you find it harder to get a good designer? Most stuff is average. Well, nobody stands out would be my, my selection there. Like, you're good, but give me something, give us anything. Like, this portfolio one portfolio, I did a portfolio review, and I'm reviewing like 40 different portfolios. Boom, boom, boom. I think it was with ProductHired. And we opened this one, and the background of the hero image is the girl up on the ground in the middle of the road. That's her hero image background. And I still can't forget that. It was just so wild, but it was just boom. And then she had her name on it and just something really cool. And I'm just like, dude, this is so creative, So it's just random, but that was who she was. She was very wild, and that's the energy she brought, right? So the personality was there. So you got to apply the strategy and figure out how you can stand out. I'll start now.
So for me to answer this it's yes to both. I mean, when you put out a job, you get tons of applications, right? And I can go through those portfolios and those resumes really quick and whittle it down to a short list. That short list is still around 5 to 10, 15, maybe 20 people who are amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then I have to start digging into figuring out, like, okay, you can do your job, but do I like you? And can you work on my team? And do you feel good, right? And do you, do your things fit exactly? And then I start whittling it down. And then you get into the legitimate questions of, can I afford you? Right? Legitimate question, because then I'm really good at picking out great talent that often doesn't show through to most people, but I find diamonds in the rough. But often, not all diamonds are in the rough. And my eyes see something that's my company's budget doesn't meet. And William will tell you, I had to fight for him.
Yeah.
To get him hired. And anyways, that I'm so bitter about that whole situation because I can't believe I had to fight for that. But anyways, what I'm saying is, you get tons of mediocre people. When I say mediocre, they're not bad. There are bad. There are, like, dear God, please change your occupation, right? And then there's a lot of people like, it's okay, right? And then there's a very few who are like, when you open that portfolio, you immediately know. Like, the difference between a good portfolio and an amazing portfolio is so far apart. And when you see the amazing, you're just like, damn, I know I can't afford you. you're like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So go to the portfolio review. I definitely do portfolio reviews. So I'm not a designer. I'm not a UX researcher. I play sometimes on these things, but I'm a hiring manager who hires these people. And I can go through your portfolio like a hiring manager and rip it apart or tell you what's great about it. And anyways,
do it. Everybody do it.
And others. Okay, next one. Sorry, that I broke my own rule. Okay, Going through blank competitor of ProductHired for mentor advice, as well as hiring managers in my personal network, I found that they may offer a contradicting advice. Oh, shocker. How does one know where the best middle ground is? Can I answer this and then you answer after me?
Sure.
Okay. The truth is, you got to pick someone you trust and kind of stick with them, because yes, like I tell people on resume reviews, give your resume to 20 people, you're going to get 20 different opinions, right? And you're ultimately going to be wasting time trying to meet all different opinions. And you can't do that, right? You need to find someone you trust. It's okay to ask a few people, but you really need to find a coach or a mentor that you really believe in for that particular thing that you need help with, and focus in on it, right? Because yes, it's normal to, and good people will contradict each other. It's absolutely normal. I contradict people every day. It doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean I'm wrong, just means there's different roads. So go ahead, William.
No, that's good. That's actually great. I think Mark just answered it. The only thing I'll add to that is identify that destination and figure out where. See, guys, this talk is very important. Like, don't forget it. I hope you took notes. If you identify the destination, it's easy to position these mentors or hiring managers in line with where you're going, where you want to see yourself, and also see, like, are they the people that you're looking to be? Let's take myself, for example. Does my portfolio, my resume, does that excite you? Is that what you're looking for? Then if that is the case, then you can kind of prioritize, that person's advice, as Mark is saying, like, trust that more because that aligns with where you're going than like a generalist kind of view. You see what I'm saying? So that's a good way to really try to figure out where you want to listen. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be up to you to make that, that choice, right?
And I one thing to add, which William just kind of said, is don't just like do one-offs. Like, find a coach or a mentor. And these are really mentors who are going to go the long term with you, because they're going to deeply know you a lot better than just someone who you just gave your resume to and asked for advice, right? Yeah. They're going to know things that you maybe said 3 meetings ago, but it's important today. And so definitely find someone. I'm a big believer in mentorship. You should be mentoring people, and you should be mentored. Everybody, even me, right? I have people that are mentoring me, and I'm a big believer in it. And so we'll go on next. On the slides where you were showing specific roles.
Wait, Mark, I wanted to say something. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I got it. Hang on. It has to come back. Mentorship. Yes. So I was going to say, you wouldn't go. Okay, let me frame my words right. Amongst the advice that you're getting, you're still able to sort it out, because if you're getting like marriage advice from someone who's divorced 5 times, you're probably asking the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone has an opinion. This is like a fun talk, but we're keeping it 100. Okay, we're keeping it very honest here. Everyone has an opinion, and you're gonna hear a lot of them, but just figure out what, like, where it's coming from, and does that match where you're trying to go? It's really very simple. Like, if I'm talking to a guy who's been married for 50 years, yeah, I want to listen to what he has to say, even if it contradicts a lot of things that other people have said, right? So anyway, just something to think about.
Okay. On the sides, on the slides, you were showing specific roles. You mentioned UX designer was kind of a generalist. Can you elaborate more on this?
Okay, so I don't want to get in that debate of like who's a generalist, who's a specialist, and all, but I was just kind of touching on the subject of like, okay, there's a UX designer, and then there are like more specialized UX design disciplines and verticals. So a UX designer, I only said the generalist part because in relation to like everything else that was on that list, right? We had voice, which was more voice oriented, and e-commerce, which was more just online shopping, related. But a UX designer is kind of where you're starting before you decide I want to only focus on web. e-commerce, or I want to only focus on mobile, right? So that was kind of what I was trying to explain. But they come in so many different titles and labels. It's really up to you to figure out where you're trying to go and then research what that means, what they do. And if that gets you excited, boom, that's a strategy right there to start.
Cool. Next one. How do you deal with the salary conversation? You gave them your salary range through the research, of course, not a random number, but it's met with pause and crickets. Interesting.
That's a really good question, because I know Mark was talking about like, not being able to afford people and everything. So I feel like, I mean, even I've been in interviews where you know, I say my expectation, and then they're like, oh, that's a little bit above our range, and it's like, okay, that's great. You should be fine with saying, okay, well, it just doesn't align for both of us, and that's okay, right? But you know, if you have 10 years of experience, then you know that another role will be coming, right? If you strategize well and you put all these things into work. But if it's very hard for you to get a job, then you might be, you know, they might be pushing you into a corner where you have to accept whatever they give you, or, you know, if you want to. But I'm just saying, like, feel free to say no and to turn down roles.
Yeah. So from my perspective on this, just jump in as a hiring manager and being on both sides. And I love what you put through research. Yes. Always give a range. Don't give a number, give a range. And don't say about you saying, I know the market for someone of my skills and my experience is normally between this number and this number, right? So you're saying, I know what the hell the market is, right? I know what I'm worth. And then if they come back and saying, well, that's more than we want, then what they're saying is we can't afford the market. Well, that's their problem, right? Yeah. As a hiring manager, you got to understand, when companies start looking for a role, most companies don't know what that range is. They don't. And the reason they're asking is they're trying to figure out what is that range. You're like, we're just going to ask all these random people who apply and we'll start figuring out. So most of them don't even know if that's out of normal. So what happened, for example, and I'll just tell you, when I was hiring William, right, is I was interviewing a bunch of people and I had a range from it was, you know, one number to a double of that number, right?
Oh, wow.
Double of that number, right?
This is news to me, guys.
Yeah. This is news to me. Right? So I had to go back to my boss and I'm saying, here's the number range that I'm getting of these people. Obviously, I know we're a startup, so I can take this chunk of people and throw them out the window, right? Because I know it would be malfeasance on me as a head of product to even consider them. But here's a group of people, but understand my trick. I just made this group of people look amazingly good compared to this group of people, right? And so then I got into the arguments of why someone's worth X, Y, and Z. And, you know, it's my boss's job to whittle me down, so I have to whittle them down. But sometimes I know, like as a hiring manager, I'm like, I know what he's worth. I know what these people are worth. I'm going to push back, right? And I have the data now to show my boss. So for the budgets. So, you know, don't always, you know, recruiters, a lot of times they're fishing, trying to understand. It's not, most recruiters, from what I understand, is they're not trying to figure out how cheap they can get you. They're trying to understand what this range is going to be, right? Now, further down the process, they might try to whittle you down, but they usually won't, because as a hiring manager, and most hiring managers I know, we don't want to haggle people down on salary. You do not want to hire someone who's not happy with their salary. It's not good. I don't like doing it. I know they don't like receiving it. And you're starting off on the wrong foot. And we want someone to be excited, right? By the way, it also gives you power to negotiate up. Because if you counter my salary and you add 3,000, 5,000, 2,000 to it, whatever that is, you're going to make me want to say yes, because over 12 months, $3,000, $5,000 really isn't a lot, right? Now, unless the company's dying, which should let you know, maybe it is dying and maybe you should have went to join there. But if the company does have revenue, then you could even get more than what they offer you. Like, well, can you add 5 to that, right? Yeah. I'd be happy at 5, and it's not that much over, it's like $800 or $600 over 12 months. Come on, you can't find $600, And so that's a great way to look at it from the, definitely both sides have to dance. It's not, again, we would love to pay you as much money in the world. The problem is that's not how economics and economies work. So.
But I want to add to that. That was amazing. Yeah, no, that was amazing. Everything Mark said, +1. But I also want to add to that, before you get to that point where you're negotiating and going back and forth, you have to be worth it. That's really my calling. I'm trying to get you guys to understand. You have to be positioned properly so that when this opportunity comes, you can say, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to take that, or that I would really be happy at this other amount, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the background before you get to that point. But trust me, when you get to that point, it's great. I mean, they'll give you. I had a role that was like, Will, how much do you want? You tell us your salary, what you want. And I was like, oh, it's like that. Oh, so I just like
$1,000.
I was like, wait, and I called my wife after. I was like, babe, they just like asked me to name my price, and I threw out this random crazy number. It was crazy to me, and she was like, the CEO was like, okay, that's the maximum I can do. That's fine. We can't go any higher. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, no way.
Yeah.
No. But it's, but you have to be positioned right in order to be able to get to that conversation and be at that table, right? But once you do, you can name your price or, but then you have to think about a company you're negotiating with, if you want to work for them, and if it fits with your destination. It didn't really fit. So even though they were like, yeah, I was like, no. After all that, I was like, no. But, it's trust me, it's really awesome. It's worth it. So
it essentially means I can't afford William anymore. Okay. Last question. Where do you sign up for the next thing? Actually, I posted it under the chat. It's meetup.com. Look up ProductHired. You should be able to find it, but the link's here on meetup.com. It's called product-job-club, right after meetup.com. And again, subscribe to that group, but also we have several events coming up that you can, of course, RSVP to as well. And of course, do the same thing to the YouTube channel. And I believe that's it, William. Thank you so much. Everybody give an applause. We still have 28 people remaining, which is great after like 2 hours of just talking.
I know, it's been a long time. Gosh.
Yeah. So I'm going to hang around in the networking for at least another 5 minutes. If people want to chat, maybe it'll go longer. But thank you so much, William. I've always enjoyed having you, and a lot of information and wealth of knowledge here.
Same here, Mark. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I love it. This gets me excited, and I'm rejuvenated to get back to work and, keep going. So.
Okay, cool. I'm going to send you all back to the networking lounge. So just hold on a second, and if not,
wait, Mark. So I'm gonna hang out there for 10 minutes, so we could chat. I'll be at the table, one of the tables. Okay. But I'll turn my video off just so I can relax a little.
Because being you is so stressful. Like keeping up.
Okay. I can grab water or something.
Okay. And see you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.